From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, getting tough on mask enforcement. The Indiana county that can now fine businesses for not enforcing a mask-wearing order. And keeping kids safe when they're in the car. The online help available to parents when they can't get car seat help in person due to the pandemic.
Topping our lineup, the Boeing 737 MAX will be allowed to start flying again after being grounded for nearly 2 years. What you need to know about safety before getting back on board. Video games have gotten more popular as we're at home more. And we have a new one that you can feel good about, how it lets you help people in need just by playing. Hackers are trying to take advantage of more of us shopping online for the holidays amid the pandemic, what to watch for so you don't fall for fake sales.
Now first at 5:30, keeping kids safe from injuries of all kinds, especially in the car. Car seats and booster seats can be tricky for parents, and because of the pandemic, hands-on expert assistance is a little more difficult to access. But IU Health has created some online tutorial videos to help parents make sure their kids are safe when traveling. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson explains and gets an actual demonstration.
Amid the pandemic, a lot of things did have to get put on pause, but here at IU Health, they wanted to make sure that kids were still being put in car seats properly. That's why they started making those social media videos just for parents to watch ahead of time before they came in. So I'm here this morning with Tiffany Davis. So tell us a little bit about those videos and why they started.
Yeah, so normally pre-COVID, we were able to go into the vehicles with families. We were able to get our hands dirty, if you will, and help them install their car seats, touch their kids, talk about safety. And then with COVID and needing to be safer, we just can't do that. So we created on the IU Health social media YouTube channel, we created some tutorial videos that shows you how to properly put kids in car seats. And so we're just going to talk about booster seat safety. Okay. This child is 6, and as said on her shirt, and in Indiana, children have to be in a booster seat until their 8th birthday. But many children should be in a booster seat even longer. It really depends on how the seatbelt fits them. So this is a good visual of this seatbelt not fitting the child. If you look here, the seatbelt is just right on the child's neck. So we don't want the seatbelt on the child's neck. Down here, our seatbelt is around the abdomen, the belly area, the soft part. And then if you see right here on the child's knees, those knees are not bending naturally. My seat is cutting into my child's calf. So this child really needs a booster seat, not just because of the age, but also because of the size. If we put this child in a booster seat pretty quickly, you'll see a difference in how the seatbelt fits the child. So we want that seatbelt to be on the mid-chest and mid-shoulder and not in the neck. We want the lap portion to be low across the upper thighs and the lower hips and not in the abdomen. And then our knees are now bending naturally over our booster seat. So this seatbelt fits much better just by elevating this child. And so this child will be much safer if the child's in a crash.
And just that easy step makes it so much, I mean, that's obviously an easy way to prevent injury. Just putting a booster seat right in there could save the child's life.
Definitely, yes.
All right.
And so we want to always do it like this until they fit that seatbelt.
Okay, and so they've got more of these tips for you over on their YouTube channel. Again, it's IU Health social media that's on that YouTube channel. Today is National Injury Prevention Day. So if you're out and about tonight, you can drive by Riley. They're gonna have it lit up green along with 30 other hospitals across the country, again, for National Injury Prevention Day. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Very helpful. Thank you, Kelsey. Again, to find those car seat safety videos, just go to YouTube and search IU Health social media. There are several that will pop up. Okay.
Wow, this sunset. Beautiful view here spotted by our director.
Very pretty.
Jen
Wow,
Shirley.
I had to turn around and look at it.
I know, yeah. You got to take a minute and enjoy that sunshine out there. And we are going to see more of that tomorrow. It's going to be a little more windy, though. We've got those winds right now out of the south, around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Temperatures that are in the 40s. And because we've got those winds out of the south, that's going to hold those numbers fairly steady here the next couple of hours. Tonight, though, we'll have those gusts between about 20 and 30 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a wind advisory goes into effect for much of the area as we'll have gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. So Shouldn't be quite as strong as what we had last weekend, but still going to be a blustery day. Combine that with some lower humidity in tomorrow afternoon and increased fire threat force. It's all because of this area of high pressure off to our southeast and the flow of wind between there and the low pressure off to the northwest. We're going to stay dry. It's just going to be funneling in that breeze. Temperatures this evening, there are those steady numbers. We're in the lower 40s right through 10 o'clock with mostly clear skies. This morning started off around 30. Tomorrow morning around 40 degrees. So you'll need the jacket once again. We'll let you know, though, about the warming trend coming our way and those gusty conditions for the rest of the week coming up.
Pfizer says it hopes to apply for emergency use authorization for its COVID-19 vaccine within days. This comes after the company released a final analysis of its vaccine today showing it's 95% effective. Its initial analysis released last week showed the vaccine was 90% effective. The company says there have been no serious side effects. About 4% of participants experienced fatigue and 2% had a headache. A Black doctors group is making sure the Black community in particular can trust a COVID vaccine once it does get emergency use authorization from the FDA.
We're already suffering more than other communities, and we would hate to see that suffering gap widen because members of our community did not elect to receive a vaccine that could have prevented kidney disease, prevented lung damage, from COVID-19.
The National Medical Association's task force has been doing its own independent vetting of a COVID vaccine. It already had 2 meetings with Pfizer and has another one planned. It also met with Moderna and AstraZeneca. The association's president says they've been having those meetings with the vaccine makers for a while. He's hopeful they'll agree with the decision the FDA makes. He says the association wanted to do its own vetting because of concerns about the FDA being influenced by politicians.
We are trusted messengers for health in the Black community. That's where we live, that's where we work, and we already have those established relationships.
He says they've already been collaborating with clergy and other professional organizations that are looking to the National Medical Association for direction on a vaccine. Freight airlines are gearing up to transport the vaccines. Shipping billions of doses around the world is already a daunting task. The airlines say the colder the vaccine needs to be stored, the more difficult it is.
The temperature, minus 70 degrees, is really a challenge because we have to use dry ice in the bunker. We for sure need dry ice within the compartments.
And the dry ice emits a lot of CO2 gas, and that can be dangerous for flight crews inside the plane, so each cargo flight can only carry a limited amount of containers. Still, at least one German airline says it's ready once a vaccine is approved. Next in our lineup, the Boeing 737 MAX will be allowed to start flying again after being grounded for nearly 2 years. What you need to know about safety before getting back on board.
Businesses in northern Indiana County could now face fines if they fail to enforce a county mask order. The order requires employees of businesses in St. Joseph County to wear masks to slow the spread of the virus. The St. Joseph County Commissioners passed an ordinance yesterday to allow the county health department to fine businesses violating the order between $50 and $250 for each day the business is out of compliance. The health department will only visit a place if they receive a complaint. Now, businesses won't face fines if their customers are not wearing masks.
The FAA is allowing the Boeing 737 MAX to take to the skies again and carry passengers. This is the end of the 20-month grounding. Boeing used that time to improve safety on the aircraft after it was involved in 2 crashes, killing 346 passengers. It was discovered this safety feature meant to stop the plane from going up too quickly and stalling, forced the nose of the plane down, causing the crashes. Boeing has put in a series of changes, including to software and adding more flight control computers. The aircraft also has to fly with dual control systems or computers with autopilot. And due to these changes, pilots will need to go through new training with the flight simulators.
It's no small undertaking to go through, develop this training, put the pilots through the training, and absorb the cost of the training.
American Airlines is already planning on having the 737 MAX back on its flight schedule, which means they've already figured out the training timeline. The aircraft will be back in rotation at the end of December. Other airlines like Southwest won't be ready until around April. Families of crash victims have pushed for a ban on the aircraft, but aviation experts say they're confident that it's safe.
These 20 months they took to look at every possible issue with the aircraft is more than enough time to make it safe to go back in the air.
American Airlines has said that if passengers do not feel safe flying on the 737 MAX, it will provide flexibility and allow people to change flight plans. Meanwhile, American Airlines is trying to persuade American and British governments to restart international travel. American Airlines and British Airways are starting a COVID testing trial next week. Passengers will be asked to test for coronavirus 3 times before takeoff, after landing, and then 3 days after their arrival. The airlines hope this will be an alternative to having to quarantine on arrival. That trial will run until mid-December. More in our lineup. Video games have gotten more popular as we're home more. We have a new one that you can feel good about, how it lets you help people in need just by playing. As the country suffers from another spike in COVID cases, a nonprofit group is helping healthcare workers deal with the stress of their jobs and their lives. As Kai Beach shows us, they're doing it through the power of nature.
They're all first responders and or healthcare workers or anybody touched by COVID.
The great outdoors can be a great escape. Physically.
So I can step into the harness easily.
And emotionally.
Finding some peace in the chaos that we live in.
And for these first responders,
Woo! You got it!
outdoor adventures can provoke feelings that they desperately need.
You got this!
While providing peace of mind during this pandemic and political season.
My mind is actually blank and relaxed for once because I don't think I've had this since everything has started going on.
Have you backpacked before?
This is Hero Recharge.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna love it!
Free outdoor adventures provided by the nonprofit group First Descents.
Yep, and then start to slowly feed it back.
This program started 20 years ago when the group's founder took his aunt, who was diagnosed with cancer, out kayaking. Her time on the river was an important part of her recovery process. Since then, First Descents has grown to an international movement with major sponsors.
Hey guys. She's on the ground so loud.
Serving those suffering from cancer and multiple sclerosis through activities like surfing, kayaking, and rock climbing.
That's going to be in the front of your body.
This year, they're now helping healthcare workers impacted by the COVID crisis.
It's awesome. Yeah. Have fun.
Nurse practitioner Mary Beth Spinos has volunteered with First Descents for the past several years.
We all go almost every day.
And says this camaraderie outside of the workplace
You got it!
can help healthcare workers step away from their stresses and fears about being on the front lines.
What's so beautiful about these opportunities is that you can be with people who really get it.
People like ER nurse Emily Lanier,
It's back. Stressful. Yeah.
who's disappointed with the handling of the crisis, especially with the recent surge in new COVID cases nationwide.
We've already been through this, and now we know a lot more, and we're still going through it. We just don't know when this is going to end, I think, and so it's kind of hard to picture any kind of future.
Being out of the hospital and in nature does help these healthcare workers heal.
Just being out here, away from it all, just kind of put everything out of my mind.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love it.
I'm Kai Beach reporting.
It's gonna make it very far from us.
One of the big non-racing events of the year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the huge end of the season merchandise sale. It will still take place this week, just not in person. This is what it usually looks like. People crowding the top floor of the media center in search of a great deal on t-shirts, hats, die-cast collectibles, and more. But this year, the sale will be online only, Friday and Saturday at shop.ims.com. This sale features the lowest prices of the season. For example, you'll find hats and t-shirts from $3 to $5 and novelties starting at 25 cents. A great way to get a gift for the race fan on your Christmas list. Kyle.
Yeah, get that shopping done here as we go through the next couple of days. We've got some nice weather if you're getting out there and maybe you're continuing or just getting that shopping started. We've got clear skies out there for us this evening, and checking out another beautiful view here of the sunset. Can always count on that weather camera in Greencastle there and the Putnam County region as we've got sun setting quickly below the horizon. Our temperature 48 degrees, humidity's just 32%. It does feel a little bit cooler with that south breeze out there. We've got a feels like number of 42. Your actual temperature is 41 in Columbus. You're still holding on to 50 in the Bedford area, and we've got a temperature of 51 in Lafayette. Tonight, not going to be as chilly with a low of 41. The caveat to that is it's going to be a little breezy, so actually our feels like numbers will be down into the middle 30s as you head out the door tomorrow morning. Temperatures, though, should pretty quickly warm up here as we go through our Thursday. Sunshine and that south wind that could gust at times between 40 and 50 miles per hour, getting those afternoon readings into the 60s. And we do have that wind advisory covering pretty much all of central Indiana, the exception here across the southeast where your gusts will probably stay around 40 miles per hour or less. High temperatures here for the next to last day of the week at 64 in Bloomington and Lafayette. And look at that, temperatures cooling down a little bit here as we go into the upcoming weekend. 7-day planning forecast for the weekend. We do have that chance for rain both Saturday, a little more widespread going into Sunday, with highs around 50 degrees here into early next week and more chances for rain. We're getting back into a little more active weather pattern. Lindsay?
A former refugee is using his life experience and brilliant mind to inspire world peace through video games. Chris Stewart shows us how his groundbreaking approach puts the players in a position to save real lives.
It wasn't an easy journey for them. Most people were massacred in South Sudan. They were farmers, they were growing crops. Their life was better, you know. It was a journey of life and death. My name is Lual Mail, and I'm from South Sudan. During the journey, as my family was fleeing the war, I was born on the way. They ended up in northern Uganda.
Lual Mayan is proud of where he came from.
I've been in a refugee camp for 22 years of my life. That's where I spent all my childhood, in a refugee camp.
And he's proud of where he's going. He lives in D.C. now, on a mission to chip away at the crisis he and his family escaped that still affects an estimated 79.5 million people.
That's why I'm here to create more opportunities for refugees.
He's accomplishing that goal with video games.
So Junub Game is my company. We're based in D.C.
He's the company's CEO and self-taught developer, getting ready to launch a game that's all about peace in every detail, down to its name, Salam.
Salam is an Arabic word that means peace. It's a high-tension online video game that puts a player in the shoes of a refugee who is playing a country.
In Salam, the goal is to get the character from a war-torn country to a peaceful space safely.
That is going to bring the global communities together, virtually and the reality on the ground.
Mayan is doing something nobody has done before.
You are interacting with a virtual character, and you're also interacting with somebody in a refugee camp.
Teaming up with a nonprofit to give players a hand in helping him change the world.
When you buy food in the game, you're actually buying somebody in a refugee camp food. When you buy water in the game, you're giving them water. That's when you're actually giving some portion of that money to somebody in the refugee camp. And that's why I personally believe that we can use our experiences to create a sustainable future for other people.
Mayan credits one person.
I'm happy that I have somebody like her in my life.
His mother, who in the refugee camp quietly saved for 3 years.
And one day she was like, Lual, this is $300. You can use it to buy your computer. And that moment just changed my life. No matter what I'm gonna do, it will never overshadow the work that she has done in my life.
Today, Mayan stays focused on addressing the refugee crisis.
People are being displaced because of war. People are being displaced because of climate change.
Focused on a solution.
You can be you as a player and still help people.
And on his goal of giving refugees new opportunity.
And I hope it helps more people to realize that refugees are people. We can be programmers. We can be, we can go to the moon if we want. We can be like anything we want to if we have the opportunity. It's hope.
General Motors is getting into the car insurance game. GM will offer plans that allow them to track drivers' behavior, and this includes things like looking at whether they obey the speed limit and avoid sudden stops. Insurance rates would be set according to those driving behaviors. The insurance plans will be branded under OnStar. The pandemic is not going to stop kids from being able to track Santa Claus this year. NORAD will still provide tracking just as it's done for 65 years. However, this year kids will not be able to call into a volunteer to see where Santa is. Finally, in our lineup, hackers are trying to take advantage of more of us shopping online for the holidays amid the pandemic. What to watch for so you don't fall for fake sales. Consumers are already spending big this month, nearly $22 billion during the first 10 days of November alone. That's according to Checkpoint Security Software, which is also following a massive uptick in scammers looking to take advantage.
And using some of those, again, less sensational but very frequent terms like cheap and sale and percentage off and special offers to attract folks to click on some of these unsolicited emails.
All right, listen to this. Checkpoint found last month 1 in every 11,000 shopping emails was malicious. This month, that's jumped to more than 1 in every 1,000. Take a look at how convincing some of these emails are. This is a real phishing campaign that duped victims in the U.S. and abroad. It looks like an ad for a sale for jewelry from Pandora. A couple of big red flags, though. Pandora is misspelled.
Very often, the way that the language is phrased, sometimes spelling, as well as a lot of the links that are embedded. If you do a quick little mouse over of the link's not linking to the actual website.
The Better Business Bureau also says there's a rise in online shopping scams and more than 80% of people are losing money to them. It's not just in email campaigns, but ads popping up on Google and social media. The big mistake, not researching the website they're buying from. There are other phishing scams right now, too.
Because I can't tell you how many times that I get an email every single week about how I need a password to be reset that I never asked to be reset for. Or I think the one I've been getting the most lately is open enrollment, right? I get an email for open enrollment for healthcare every week. And I know that we're not doing that for at least another month.
So beware of bargain emails. And when you do go to buy something, look for the lock next to a website's URL address to make sure it's secure. Whether college students come home for the Thanksgiving break depends a lot on where you live, and so does whether traveling students will be asked or required to get a COVID test.
It is going to be a major challenge when you have your student body move from campus back home and then come back on campus, because that's likely to introduce more levels of infection.
Tomorrow, we'll explore the range of options universities are using to keep students and their families safe before and after the break.
We've got a nice dose of some warmer weather coming our way here as we round out the work and school week. Temperatures tonight not going to be as chilly either. We will hold there in the lower 40s. And as we get into tomorrow morning, we're already back into the mid 40s, courtesy of that south breeze for us. But it will be gusty tomorrow. Could have those gusts over 40 miles per hour. That gets us to a mild high of 64 with sunshine. More clouds, still nice and warm here on Friday at 62. And then we'll see that chance for showers returning, especially the second half of the weekend here, with highs in the 50s and a little cooler heading closer to Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining us. The news at 6.